Camera 2, 3, 2.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Rosemary Live TV. We're here today presenting our candidates in the state of Nevada for their elections. We have different seats of Congress, Senate. We also have our host. I'm the host, actually. You're not the host, but we're going to make you part of our show. You're going to be my host today. How about that?
That sounds good.
We have Stephen Barella here today, running for Clark County Recorder. Mr. Barella, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and why are you running?
Yes, my name's Stephen Barella. I'm running for Clark County Recorder. I'm originally from Birmingham, Alabama. I spent most of my life there. I ended up moving to Las Vegas around 5 years ago. And really what made me interested in the recorder's office was, from my time in solar, from requesting records, I've always noticed that the office was slow. But when I saw that there was a report back in 2022 that we were 10 years behind in verifying and indexing records, I knew I had to step up and put my hat in the ring. Because when that happens, it leads to false liens on properties. It can lead to people losing their homes due to fraud. And we need to protect people because at the end of the day, it's the people's records and they should never be used against them.
When you talk about people losing their homes through fraud, what exactly do you mean by that?
Well, essentially, it's deed fraud. So essentially, if people bring the right documentation to the recorder's office, the recorder's office does have to record record the record because they brought the paperwork to them. And essentially, if a record's not recorded, it's harder to prove that you own the home. So if you end up being 10 years behind and your record's not the one that was not recorded, essentially somebody can come in and just steal your property. And it's happened. It's been reported in the Las Vegas Review-Journal. And one of the things that I want to do to actually combat that is there's already a system in place that most people don't know about. It's called the RNS, the Recording Notification Service. And essentially what it does, if anything's recorded on your property, like a lien, anything like that, it notifies you through email and it but I want to expand it from email to text messaging so people can have real-time alerts. Because I'll tell you, as a former car salesman, people don't check their email, sadly. And so what I want to do is so people can have real-time alerts and real-time notification. I want to expand it to text messaging so people can actually see it right when it happens and so we can stop it right when it happens.
I see. When you say people are losing their homes, are they losing their homes to the banks? Are the banks repossessing their homes? Or they're actually people are losing their homes? Like we find out of many stories in our community, our senior community is losing their homes because they can no longer function within the home where the caretakers, they go into a nursing home or they go to some type of facility where they can be taken care of. And they don't have a power of attorney over family member in charge of actually their finances, health care, or any decisions that have to be made towards their home. How exactly, can you explain to me? Because our community would love to know.
Yes.
How can you give us that type of information of how the seniors' homes are being taken illegally by the system?
Well, I would say, I'll really truthfully, when it comes to the banks, money owed, everything like that, those are legitimate liens. When I talk about people getting their homes taken, I'm talking about non-legitimate liens, where essentially liens just get passed through. They bring the documentation to the recorder's office, and exactly, the elderly are especially vulnerable because most of the time they don't understand the technology that's going on with the Clark County government. They don't understand the system. So they are way more vulnerable to fraud. And essentially, I do want to combat that as well because most seniors nowadays do have cell phones. That's how RNS would be able to help them through the text messaging so they can be notified if anything's put against their home. And, but yeah, you're 100% correct. The seniors are especially vulnerable.
So tell us a little bit about how you're willing to upgrade digital systems to reduce the delays.
Yes, so essentially I want to digitalize the records. I believe essentially you shouldn't have to drive downtown to the county office just to get a basic record. Essentially, if we can move it all to digital, because they are all public records anyway, it would make the system simpler, it would make it easier, and it would make it more cost effective.
And you're talking also to defend your privacy. How would the recorder's office protect our privacy when we know 100% of our privacy has been invaded? We have thousands of cases of identity theft and all of the above. So can you explain to me how are you able to protect us from that?
Yes. So what I want to do is, me being a libertarian myself, if a libertarian can win a Clark County office, because we are the 5th largest county in the United States, it will be a referendum on privacy. Because essentially we can put pressure on our politicians. We have 73% of the state living here in Clark County. The recorder can't change state law by itself. Right now, there's a thing called the Alphabetical Online Index. It's a law basically saying we do have to have your name, where you can have your name be searched. What I want to do is put pressure on our politicians by being a libertarian elected in Clark County, by telling them, hey, we need to end name-based searches. Nobody should be searched up by their name. If you truly need a property record, you should look it up through the address or the parcel number. But on top of that, what I can do day one is starting, when you go to the IRS website, you have to go to ID Me, submit your ID, show that you're the person going on there to get your tax documents. I want to do the same thing with the recorder's office. Essentially, if you're requesting records in bulk, you should have to prove who you are, and you don't have any nefarious reasons of doing it.
So you're willing to restore trust and accountability.
Yes.
That's awesome. Tell us a little bit about your job description as a recorder. Many people in our community does not understand when people run for this type of service. So
Yes.
can you explain to us?
Of course. With the recorder's office, what we do is we preserve and record public records when it comes to property. And that can be anything from deeds, liens, reconveyances, homesteads, DD 214s for our veterans. And essentially, that's why I always do say this office isn't just paper. A lot of people, when they're running, they're just looking at this as paperwork. I'm looking at this as people's lives. When you make a home, that's one of the biggest investments you're ever going to make in your life. And that's where you're probably going to raise your family. You're going to pass it down to your children. And same thing with the DD 214s. They show a veteran's service. That's a record of their service and their sacrifice to this country. And I believe it's not just paperwork. These are pieces of people's lives, and we need a recorder that respects that.
We understand that a lot of people also live in condos and they have association fees that accumulate because they can't pay their association fees. So these liens start coming into play. How can the recorder's office help within that area?
Essentially, no, we can't stop liens. When a lien does get brought into the recorder's office, the recorder does have the obligation to record it.
But as far as them getting their information,
No, I do believe we should be more transparent, where we can actually show like what happened, when it happened, and have a public dashboard where everybody can see, hey, this is what happened this day. This is how many records we indexed this day. This is how many liens got put on properties this day. So we can be more transparent. But when it comes to liens, putting it on a home like HOAs, where the HOAs do put liens on homes, and I hate it. I hate people losing their home because people work their whole lives for that home. But when it comes to that, there's nothing really a recorder can do because of state law. But I will say I am 100% against people losing their homes, because at the end of the day, as a libertarian myself, I don't believe anybody should be able to come by and take your home that you worked your whole life for.
yes, losing a home is one of the most tragic moments of people's lives. And so, can you tell us a little bit about why you want to run? What is the main problem that you see within the system
Yes.
of our records?
Of course, and I'll start with the culture of the office. Right now, I feel like the culture of the office has been real bad. We actually have a candidate who's suing the recorder's office, and she's worked there 15 years. So that shows there's very much dysfunction in that office. And I don't believe we can trust an insider taking over that office. When I first decided to run, I knew the incumbent, she wasn't doing her job. She wasn't showing up to work. She was showing up after the office is closed because she didn't want to deal with the public. And essentially, I knew I had to step up. And when I did hear that she was retiring, I was actually, okay, good. Maybe we'll have good candidates come along. But then we had 2 insiders come along, and they're the favorites. And at the end of the day, I knew, okay, I got to keep running, because at the end of the day, I feel like Clark County needs me, and I want to make sure that people have their privacy protected as well as their property, because it's the people's records.
Well, on behalf of Rosemary Live TV, we want to wish you the best, and we really would love to see you win. We don't endorse candidates at the moment. I cannot do any endorsements at the present time, but we do want the best for every candidate that comes to Rosemary Live TV. Stephen, can you give us some information on how to reach you?
Of course, yes. My website is Stephen Barella for ClarkCountyRecorder.com, and you can find me on Facebook, Stephen Barella for Clark County Recorder, and you can also find me on Instagram, Stephen Barella for Recorder.
There you go. So if you guys are looking for a great candidate, libertarian, to vote for, Mr. Stephen Barella's running, and you can look him up. He just gave you the website, and I want to thank you so much for coming to Rosemary Live TV. And I really do want to see you in there, okay?
Thank you, thank you.
You've got some great platforms.
Thank you.
Thank you. Muchísimas gracias a todos. Nos vemos con nuestro siguiente candidato. Gracias. Nos vemos muy pronto.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have a beautiful day.